I am currently having complications with a friend that we will call Karen for this situation. So, some context on the situation is I have a lot of kids, and I mean a lot, 3 weeks from a due date currently. I'm also typically our friend group's trusted babysitter when anybody has something come up with their daycare. So, I'm pretty used to an array of different personalities when it comes to kids in my everyday life. Myself and this friend have two very different parenting styles. I'm more communicative and personally don't believe in corporal punishment as redirection. Explanations make more sense to me. She is more of the southern style of raising her voice. If you don't hear her the first time, you're going to feel her hand on the second. That being said, I have finally came to the conclusion of I just can't watch her oldest kid anymore. I don't think I've ever met a more angry child before in my life, and I'm by no means blaming the child for his temperament, but it's just not something that I can personally handle anymore. He doesn't follow any sort of directions, even simple ones, without lashing out violently. He goes out of his way to physically hurt anything without any warning, and I mean anything. The cat, any child, big kid, adult, the freaking houseplants. The scary part is he always laughs and then follows up with name-calling, swearing, or a lovely shrieking sound that would put any coyote to shame. I know this is really messed up to say, but it's like a rerun of the Orphan movie in real life when dealing with this kid. Yesterday, he walked up to me asking for a snack, and before I could even lift my head from washing dishes, he slapped me as hard as he could. It took everything in me to keep from crying because that would obviously freak out my littlest babies in the house. I put him in my spare room, time out, away from the other kids, so I could not only take a breath but reduce the amount of damage that he was currently doing at that moment. Mind you, the situation is completely foreign to me because I can't even count how many kids I've watched over the years, and I've never found myself afraid of a kid. After the incident, I called Karen and told her she needed to immediately come get her son and make other arrangements for him. But I could handle her youngest still to help her save money. She went on to say he's really not that bad, and she doesn't think it's fair that I've never said I wouldn't watch anyone else's kids. After months of having patience, I finally snapped and said, well, none of our other friends have kids that act like a literal demon. I asked her if he really wasn't that bad. Then he had slapped me in the face, and why was he currently tearing apart my spare bedroom? If he was so easy to handle, then why do I have to constantly be in fear that he's going to hurt not just me, but another child in my care? She said she couldn't leave work, and I needed to learn how to better manage the kids in my care. I was honestly so shocked and frustrated that I got on Facebook and messaged the father of her kids to come get them, even though I know it wasn't his day. I tried to call her again to let her know he was coming to get them, but she wouldn't answer her phone for myself or him. At 8 p.m. that night, 4 hours after she was supposed to be off, she showed up at my house looking for her kids. I told her they were with their father, and her son's behavior has been reported to Dad. Now she's saying I potentially ruined her court case for primary custody because Dad had to pick up the kids and realized she was missing in action, with no idea that he even had the kids for hours. I told her it wasn't my fault, and she had 2 breaks she could have called either of us back on but chose not to. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. It's completely abnormal. The way your friend is raising her child is wrong. The results of her sadistic upbringing can already be seen in her child's behavior. My opinion? Your friend's child and the friend herself should be sent to a counselor before this escalates into something more horrible. You're doing a good job of identifying the problem. Absolutely not, the a-hole original poster replied. Honestly, that's the biggest reason that I told the dad all of it. If I'm being transparent, when they were still together, the kid didn't display half of these tendencies. I know she's my friend, but as a mother, I will always choose to protect the kids. Social services in my area are extremely corrupt, so I'm really hoping the dad can get something going. Dad said he's going to request a child lawyer to help advocate for the kids in court, and I told him I would write a written statement on the child's behavior. Commenter 2. The kid needs help, and he won't get it unless it's reported. You know you did the right thing. Original poster replied, the child lawyers in my area are amazing because they really do dive into the kid's life on a personal level. And I'm thankfully not in a mother-favoring state, so I'm feeling pretty confident dads are going to get primary or possibly even full custody. Karen has changed a lot since the separation on a personal level, and her current personality is a lot to take in now. He, on the other hand, is still the same laid-back dude he's always been. His only weakness is not really knowing how to cook, and a few of us moms have the idea of making simple recipe cards, meal ideas for him to utilize. Commenter. 3. I can understand why you took the action you did. I mean the following criticism kindly because I think it's something you need to work on for your own good. By saying this, I'm not suggesting you are the one at fault here. You've been a doormat and you've let your friend take advantage of you for way too long. You ought to have backed out of helping from the moment you realized that her son was a danger to you and your other children. I think it would be wise for you to look into why you are bending over backwards for people who don't appreciate you. Look after yourself more in future. Your friend is clearly in the wrong, both by not addressing this behavior and by taking advantage of you. It's outrageous of her to ignore calls from both you and her ex when she knew that there was a situation going on with her son. And unacceptable for her to turn up 4 hours later than she was supposed to. You haven't got the time in your life to deal with her or her drama. Put yourself and your own family first and focus on the baby you were about to have. The last thing you need right now is more stress. Original poster replied, I think for the longest time I let it fly because I just wanted to believe that if I surrounded the kid with positivity, that some positive changes would take place, but even having him as much as I do, I'm just not seeing any signs of hope. Commenter 4. How old is this kid that he was able to slap you in the face? Is he tall for his age? Original poster replied, the kid was 6. I was leaned over the sink washing dishes. I'm not a tall woman by any means. My 9-year-old is almost my height LOL update. 3 days later. So do I have a wild ride for you guys. A ton has happened in the last week. And some change. So I'm going to TLDR most of it. Dad got emergency custody the following morning, after spending the night getting an emergency mental health evaluation at our local hospital. They kept the kid for 3 days, and we took that time to help Dad get his house ready for primary parenting. The lawyer went my Karen's place on Monday for the unexpected home visit. And to put it bluntly, there was a lot more going on than any of us realized. The kids' belongings were placed in a pile beside the couch, where the kids have apparently been sleeping for the last month. One of the 5 bedrooms in her house is completely unlivable, and the 3 rooms outside of her own are being subleased to strangers. Yes, you're reading that right. She took away her children's rooms and put strangers in there. They also documented smells of burning plastic and urine throughout the household, and there are no pets in the home. She was directed to submit a drug test, and as of now, she still has not done that. I am absolutely mortified of the conditions those babies have been living in for months, without any of us in the friend group realizing. It also makes sense because she stopped hosting get-togethers shortly after her separation, and we all just assumed she was taking time for herself. Now the icing on the cake. A lot of you warned me that she would likely try to lash out toward me, and you were right because she absolutely did. She tried to call social services claiming that I had an illegal daycare running in my home. Well, of course, a social worker did show up, but thankfully the situation was clarified within the same day. I explained that 5 of the kids in my house were my own biological kids, and the 2 others I was watching for my cousin without personal pay. Gave them receipts and my last couple bank statements as proof, and should be getting a letter within the next week, closing the case as unfounded. They have a hearing Friday to establish custody, and the lawyer has already said it will go to Dad. Karen will get supervised visitation if she petitions for it. If anything changes or something else crazy happens, I'll definitely be updating again. But thank you guys. Relevant comments. Original poster clarifies on Karen's husband's lawyer who went to her house, and if the agencies will get involved, no, it's the kid's lawyer. Guardians ad litem or something like that is the proper term, but it's basically a person who represents the children from a neutral standpoint. As far as I know, social services will be getting involved because the dad does want to pursue neglect charges, but the dad did receive emergency custody, which means the concerns of a brief foster stay have been eliminated. Commenter 1. Just curious, how does your bank statement demonstrate that you're not running a daycare? Original poster replied, glad you asked. It just shows the $40 my cousin sends me each week to pick up diapers and formula for her kids' time here. And the receipts display where that $40 went. Original poster explains about Child Protective Services in her state. and if she was the one who contacted them. I didn't personally contact Department of Social Services because in my area, they are infamous for opening and closing a case without actually doing a thorough home visit. They will talk to you in your driveway, and as long as you bring the kids out and they lay eyes on them, it's good enough, and they will close the case. I'm not exactly sure what the kids said in the hospital that got the emergency order granted, but it was enough for an emergency judge to both grant a child lawyer and custody to dad overnight. Original poster responds on the dad who has the emergency custody of the kids and Karen. Dad's a really great guy, and honestly, so was she until they separated. It's like she's a different person now. Original poster responds about what she knows so far after the dad got involved with getting the kids away from Karen. Dad can't tell me exactly what the boys said at the hospital, but it's definitely a tip of the iceberg situation. We're all anxiously waiting for tomorrow, so hopefully he can give us an update after court. He has a written statement from me that I got notarized on Tuesday, but I made sure to add I would be open to coming to court to answer any other questions. After talking with a few of the girls last night, we're not really worried about how court will go tomorrow. We're more worried about if the judge is going to give her a period of time to get herself together. I mean, all of this stuff came out by sheer luck. What if she figures out how to cover her tracks better in the next 90 days?
So I'm still processing this, but I need to get it off my chest. Last night, I woke up and realized someone had butchered my hair. One side is a jagged pixie cut, and the other side hangs awkwardly past my shoulder. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was sleepwalking or something, but no. I confronted my husband, Peter, because he's been acting weird lately, but he denied it. Then he drops this bombshell. My mom, she might have done it. Apparently, my mother-in-law, let's call her Karen, is convinced I've been cheating on Peter. Why? Because last week, she saw me having lunch with a coworker. For the record, the coworker, let's call him Kyle, he is gay, and we were literally talking about work. But Karen decided I must be having an affair, and instead of, talking to me or Peter, she broke into our house in the middle of the night with scissors and went full Edward Scissorhands on my hair. This morning, I confronted her. At first, she played innocent, but when I pressed her, she literally said, "Well, maybe now you'll think twice before humiliating my son." I was fuming. I told her Kyle isn't even into women, but she just rolled her eyes and said something like, "That's what they all say." I didn't even know how to respond to that level of delusion. Peter is horrified and apologetic, but I'm struggling here. This woman violated my personal space, destroyed my hair, and acted like she was in the right. I want to go no contact with her, but Peter is stuck between me and his mom, and I feel like this is going to be a huge blow-up in our marriage. Any advice? Because I'm honestly at a loss here. Edit. My husband and I will be going to my mother-in-law tomorrow to talk to her about the situation again. Hopefully everyone will be calmed down by then, and I won't have to threaten legal action. Thank you for all the support and suggestions. I will keep them at mind. To everyone saying this is fake, I don't know how to make you believe me, and honestly, I shouldn't have to. I'm sitting here, crying in my friend's guest room, completely broken, trying to make sense of how my life has fallen apart in the span of 24 hours. My husband, the person I thought I could trust the most, betrayed me in the most humiliating way possible. His mother violated me in my sleep, and now strangers are telling me my pain isn't real. I wish with everything in me that this wasn't real. I wish I wasn't sitting here trying to figure out how to rebuild my life, how to ever trust someone again, or how to even face the people around me after this. I've barely eaten, I've been shaking all day, and I feel like my world is crumbling beneath me. I turned to Reddit because I didn't know where else to go. I needed advice, a sense of support, something to help me hold myself together. But these accusations? They're just making me feel even more alone. If you can't believe me, fine, but please don't make this harder than it already is. I wouldn't wish this pain on anyone. Here are some relevant comments. User 1 asked, why was his first thought? Maybe my mom did it. Like, why would a normal person's mind go there? Did he let her in? I'm sorry, but if my spouse woke up with their hair butchered, none of my thoughts would be that it could be my mom, unless I knew or she had done that before to someone else I was with. There is definitely more to that story. And if he isn't immediately on your side, it sounds like you have a husband problem along with a mom-in-law problem. Another user, I bet his mom told him about Kyle and he didn't care. Still doesn't if he even needs to debate whose side he's on. And there's a new updates 18 hours later. My mother-in-law cut my hair in my sleep because she thought I cheated on my husband, and now I found out my husband helped her. After the conversation we had with Karen this morning, I noticed my husband, Peter, was acting weird. At first, I thought it was just guilt about standing up to his mom, but it felt like more than that. He's been avoiding eye contact and getting defensive when I bring up what happened. Earlier, I couldn't take it anymore, so I sat him down and told him he needed to be 100% honest with me about everything. That's when he dropped the bombshell. Apparently, Karen didn't come up with the haircut idea on her own. Peter admitted that he knew about it ahead of time and even helped her. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. He said he truly thought I was cheating on him with Kyle, my gay coworker, because Karen had convinced him that there was too much evidence to ignore. When she suggested cutting my hair as some kind of weird punishment, he didn't stop her. In fact, he led her into our house that night while I was sleeping. Peter said he didn't want to confront me directly because he wasn't ready for the truth. So instead, he let his mother do this insane thing to me, thinking it would force me to come clean. Afterward, when I didn't admit to cheating, he started to realize he might have been wrong, but by then, he didn't know how to tell me what he'd done. He kept saying, "I'm so sorry, I was just confused," but I honestly don't know how to process this. This wasn't just Karen acting like a lunatic. This was both of them, and my own husband betrayed me in one of the most humiliating ways possible. I packed a bag and am staying with a friend tonight while I figure out what to do. I don't know if I can ever trust Peter again after this. It's not just the haircut, it's the fact that he didn't talk to me, believed the worst about me without any proof, and actively participated in something so cruel and violating. As for Karen, she's officially dead to me. I've already told Peter that I don't want her in my life ever again, regardless of what happens between us. Right now, I'm torn. Part of me wants to file a police report on both of them for what they did, but I'm scared of how messy it will get. Another part of me just wants to cut ties and move on, but that feels like letting them off too easily. I don't know what my next step is, but I do know this. I deserve better than this. Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this. Your comments and advice have meant the world, and I'm truly grateful for the kindness and understanding. It's helping me find the strength to figure out what comes next. New update here. I think I'm going to divorce him, and I may file a police report. After everything that's happened, I've been thinking a lot about my next steps, and I've come to a heartbreaking but necessary conclusion. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I trusted Peter with my heart, my safety, my life, and he betrayed me in ways I never thought possible. I can't imagine a future where I feel safe with him, where I can trust him, or where I don't carry the weight of this violation every day. I'm strongly considering filing for divorce. The thought of staying with him feels unbearable, but at the same time, I can't stop worrying about the messiness of it all. I just want to cut ties completely, to walk away and rebuild my life without him or his mother dragging me down any further. As for filing a police report, I'm leaning toward it, but I'm scared of what it might bring. I know what they did was a crime. My own husband let his mother into our home to assault me in my sleep. But the thought of dealing with legal battles, or even just having to relive this again and again in statements, is exhausting. Part of me wants to hold them accountable, but another part just wants to run far away and never look back. Right now, I'm taking it one step at a time. I've been talking to friends, trying to find some clarity in all this chaos. It's terrifying and painful, but I know one thing for sure. I deserve so much better than this. Thank you to everyone who has shown me kindness and support. It means the world to me right now. Here are some relevant comments. I think she should tell her husband that he has to shave his head as a part of his apology. Like, that's part of what he has to do before she will even consider coming home. Make him send a selfie. Tell him that this will not fix the situation, but is a step in the right direction to prove he's really sorry. And try to get an admission in text of what they did. Like, You did this to me, and I don't feel safe. And hopefully he, the mother-in-law, will apologize via text or at least not deny the incident. Try to draw the conversation out over several days, and don't go home during this process. Get lots of photos to document the incident before you let anyone else touch your hair. And tell mother-in-law, husband, that they will be paying for the best, hopefully expensive stylist you can find to fix your hair. Then, the original poster can go ahead and do a police report on both the mother-in-law for assault and domestic violence, and the husband for, aiding and abetting domestic violence and assault, and retain a lawyer right after making the police report. Usually, an initial consultation is free. Original poster should have legal representation as she moves forward with the divorce. I also recommend not going home at all because it won't be safe, even before the bastard shaves his head. Another user said, "There is no way to move past this. I'd never let that man touch my hand ever again if I was the original poster. Someone who would do this to you is sick and dangerous. What might he do next time he thinks you're cheating or doing anything he doesn't like? Will he scar your face? So no one else will want you? Will he do something worse? I'm so sorry they did this to you. Internet hugs if you want them." Then the original poster replied, "Thank you so much for taking the time to write this. I can't even express how much it means to me to feel seen and supported right now. You're absolutely right. I've been trying to wrap my head around what to do next, and your suggestions really help me see things more clearly. I've already started taking pictures of my hair, and I'm keeping every text as evidence. I hadn't thought about asking for an admission in writing, but that's such a good idea. I'll definitely try to do that." The idea of him shaving his head as part of an apology honestly feels like the bare minimum after what he allowed to happen, though I don't think there's any way to truly fix what he's done. I'm terrified of what he or his mom might do next if I go back, so I'm staying with my friend for now while I figure out my options. The thought of filing a police report and getting a lawyer is overwhelming, but I know it might be necessary to protect myself. The betrayal I feel from both of them is unbearable, and I don't think I could ever trust him again. Your words about what could happen next time really hit me hard because I've been trying not to think about that, but deep down, I know you're right. This isn't something I can move past. It's just too big, too cruel, and too dangerous to ignore. Thank you so much for your kindness and for helping me feel like I'm not alone in this. Internet hugs, right back to you. Update: a few hours later, can this conversation with my husband be used for a police report and divorce? I'm going through an incredibly traumatic situation, and I don't know what my legal options are. My mother-in-law entered my home in the middle of the night with my husband's knowledge and cut my hair while I was sleeping. She did this because she believed I was cheating. I wasn't. I confronted my husband, and while he didn't outright admit to planning this, he essentially confessed to knowing what his mom intended to do and letting her into our house that night. I'm planning to leave him and am seriously considering filling both a police report for assault on my mother-in-law and a report against my husband for enabling her. 1. Would this conversation be enough to support filing a police report for what happened? 2. Could it help me in a divorce if I decide to pursue one? 3. Is it worth consulting a lawyer even if I'm not 100% sure about filing a report yet? I've documented everything: photos of my hair, text messages with my husband, and written down the timeline of events. I just don't know if this conversation would actually hold up as evidence since he doesn't outright admit to anything but heavily implies it. Any advice is appreciated. I'm feeling lost, scared, and overwhelmed right now.